Hola, mi gente. Welcome back. This is Where's My Tea? Y mi té, the Spanish podcast where we laugh, we cry, and we heal from pendejadas. We also spill chisme and we laugh because, lloramos, you know. I'm your host. I'm Luisa. I am Dominican American, Jersey raised, mom of three, and if I say so myself, full-time hustler, baby. Today we're spilling tea on dinero. Porque Latino families love money, pero actúan like it's a dirty little secret. Everybody has got a layaway, but nobody really talks about retirement. So let's get into it. This is Money Talks. So let's get into it. In our homes, money was very hush hush, right? Money was very hush hush. It's like this big taboo. No le diga a nadie cuánto tú ganas. Eso no es asunto de nadie. No compartas esos detalles, no compartas esto, que tú que el otro. Like, it was always very taboo, right? Credit cards. Eso es el diablo. You can't, no te endeude, no saque tarjeta de crédito, que eso te va a llevar a cometer locura y no vas a poder salir de esa deuda nunca. And retirement was un lujo para los americanos. O sea, I remember that in my culture, at least, for our parents, having retirement was either not ever working again or winning the Powerball. Like, a lot of us lived with that notion of that's the way you get rich, right? That's the way that you build wealth. It was never a conversation of index funds, 401ks, how to save, how to dabble with the stock market. And I find it so interesting that growing up, money was so taboo, right? Y nadie nunca tenía cuarto, everybody was broke. Pero más sin embargo, cuando pasaba un problema, lo que sea, en RD o lo que sea, o en nuestros países, aparecía de la nada. Like, aparecía de la nada, it was like a thing. And it's crazy because financial literacy is just as important as any other subject. It's just as important, and it's crazy. It's baffling to me. After being in my 30s, after being grown, after making mistakes, right, and learning from them and coming back from them, it's crazy how nadie nunca nos sentó para decirnos, mija, this is how you build credit. This is what a credit score is. This is how tú ahorras para tu retiro. This is how you say no cuando tú no puedes. O sea, it was never like that. Nunca era una conversación así. And I feel as though, not even in the Latino community, in a lot of households, it was just not a thing. It was not something that was spoken about. Financial literacy was not something that was spoken about. And a lot of us paid the price for it, literally, when we got older, and we ended up making huge financial mistakes because a lot of us were ignorant to how it was that it worked, how it was that a credit score worked, how it was that, hell, listen, some people in today's world, in this generation, do not even know what it's like to balance a checkbook. And that's crazy. Like, that is crazy. That is like, yo no entiendo cómo nos inculcan a nosotros that the Pythagorean theorem and a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and that the square root of qué sé yo qué diablo is qué sé yo qué dianche, But they teach us that we're never going to use, right? But then schools also don't teach us that you need tools like what interest is, what a credit score is, what, you need all of those tools in order to succeed in life, and you are never taught that. You're never taught about filing taxes. Like, when I realized, I think that the first time I realized, the first year I was doing my taxes on my own, it was such a mind blowing experience, because it's like I knew what it was, but I didn't, right? I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know who I went to. I didn't know if somebody was, doing them right or not doing them right. And it's such a crazy thing to feel like, wow, these are things that you need in life. These are life lessons, and they're not taught to us. And the information is not easily accessible. So while the information was not accessible at school, right, in school settings, y la información tampoco estaba accessible en la casa, what were we left to do? We were left to kind of figure it out on our own, use our own devices. We learned how to stretch $20, right? Para que dure la semana. We learned how to split una libra de carne para 5 gente haciendo un locrio, un moro, lo que sea. But nadie nos explicó lo que era un 401k. Cómo funciona el freaking FICO score. Dude, when I realized how the credit system worked and who the hell FICO was, and the fact that there's a certain thing as FICO versus just Credit Karma to track your credit, and like, I was mind blown. I was mind blown, because it's like, wow, these are things que nosotros deberíamos de saber ya. Like, once you're 18, that's like you're supposed to come out of school already learning that. You're supposed to speak about these subjects at home, but nobody ever teaches us. It's like you have to caerte, trompezate, comete errores para después aprender. Oh shit, like, así es que se maneja las cosas, así es que se maneja el dinero, así es que uno tiene que comportarse. And it's a very important life skill to learn. And unfortunately, a lot of us have to learn it on our own. We don't have the privilege to have it be taught to us. And that's a very sad thing. Y ahora como adulto, we have to sit here and unlearn all of the bad habits while literally paying the price, while trying to fix credit scores, while trying to catch up, while trying to break cycles, para que nuestros propios hijos no hereden ese mismo silencio de que it's such a hush-hush topic. So, that leads us to the next segment, que se llama, obviously, MAPE Moments. And today's story in the MAPE Moments is called The Fake Vacation Flex. So, boom, back in the day, ¿verdad? Uno cuando es joven, cuando era joven y bella, como decía mi Lili. Back in the day, I had this one friend, la típica que siempre decía, life is short, we deserve this, and was scrolling through social media, was scrolling through Twitter at that time, right? Facebook, because that was like the thing back then. And everybody está en Punta Cana, and resorts in Mexico, and Cabo. And my friend goes, let's go. Vámonos, who cares? Put it on a credit card. Now, younger me didn't know any better, right? Younger me thought that credit card money was like monopoly money. Like, it exists, but it doesn't. Like the fact that it's money that you have to pay back didn't compute for me for some reason. So, uno anda viviendo la vida dando tarjetazo por todos los sitios. And so, yeah, we go, we said yes, hotels, flights, excursions, all on plastic. But while it's all on plastic, cero plan para pagar. Nothing. Zip. Zero. Zilch. And the trip? OMG. Fire. Amazing. Amazing. Like, literal, we felt like we were influencers, like living our best life. YOLO. You know, living life with no regrets. You know what I'm saying? But the truth is, the only thing we brought back, aparte del tan, was debt. O sea, debt, deuda. And when reality struck us that we came back, bills are waiting, rent is due, groceries. And the moment you realize that you're sitting there eating arroz con huevo y plátano for a week, like it was a luxury tasting menu, is when you realize, bro, that was by far the stupidest thing I did. The stupidest thing. So, MAPE Moment? Hell yeah. Listening to la amiga, who was la mala influencia, who didn't know any better than I did, right? Because we grew up the same. And thinking treating yourself meant ignoring future self. Spoiler, he wasn't the one paying my Capital One bill. So ya ustedes saben, mi gente, el sacrificio que se tuvo que hacer. My God. Mira, cuando yo vi que esa vaina llegó así, yo no quería ni comprar un bubblegum, ni siquiera un bubalú y ponerle en esa tarjeta, porque yo estaba tan harta de pagar y pagar y pagar y pagar y pagar y pagar, y eso era paga y paga y paga, y nunca se acababa. And then interest, that's the kicker. That's what smacked me in the face like a freaking, Canelo versus whoever fight. The interest. Listen, worst mistake of my life. Never doing that again. It's ghetto. Highly do not recommend. And that leads us, my beautiful people, to el Té Sana. El Té Sana. And I feel like we grew up in casas where silence was normal, where parents whispered about the bills in the kitchen, but it was whispered, right? Like they didn't want us kids to know what the hell was going on. They didn't want us kids to worry, rightfully so. And then shushing us when we asked questions, right? Cuando nos vencía la curiosidad and we wanted to ask those questions. Pero en silencio, yo aprendí que el silencio nos deja ciegos, ¿verdad? El silencio nos cega, and I think breaking the cycle means talking about it without shame. Removing the stigma that money and finances is such a taboo subject. Imagine if our parents had told us, this month it's tight, this is how we're budgeting, this is what we're doing, this is where we're cutting so that we can, finagle. I think we would have learned instead of carrying anxiety cada vez que llega. And also, as a parent now, I feel like it's so important to teach our own kids about saving and about, being smart, not just hustling. Because you can be a hustler, right? But if you're a hustler and you don't know how to be smart with your money, all you're going to be doing all your life is hustling and not have a dime to your name. Let that sink. So the hustle is good. Yeah, claro que sí, amazing. Pero hustle sin guidance burns you out. It burns you out. I think it's really important to teach generations to come how to save $10 out of 50. That's powerful. That's powerful because that's something that wasn't taught to us. That's something that we had to figure out along the way. And like I said, cae no tener las tropezones de la vida y después darnos cuenta. But there are some things that can be avoided, you know? And I feel like money mistakes are one of those things if you have the proper guidance. I mean, we were raised that asking for help made us feel guilty. Like that's also such a stigma, right? Where we're raised para aguantar, para resolver solo. Pero asking for help from family, from community, even speaking to a financial advisor. O sea, eso no es fracaso, that's power, that's smart, right? Because aquí está la verdad. Silence is more expensive than any bill. El silencio es más caro que cualquier bill. The overdraft fees, the debt, the shame, all comes from not talking, not learning, not planning. And when we talk about money, we normalize it, right? We normalize those conversations. We don't just build bank accounts, we build trust, freedom, future. So it's not greedy, it's wealth. Talking about money and having those conversations is wealth. Um, and I think that's such an important thing that we can pass on to our children and to the further generations to come. With that being said, mi gente, gracias infinitas por compartir conmigo este tecito tan rico. If you laughed, learned, or felt that tug in your chest that had you remembering your own money struggles, mándaselo a alguien que todavía cree que talking about money is shameful. Because aquí, let me tell you something. We are breaking the silence together. Remember, estas conversaciones no solamente son para nosotros, son para toda la familia. O sea, we have to break that stigma that talking about money is greedy. It's not. It's healing. It's power. So thank you for sticking around, for chatting with me, and remembering que aquí el té siempre se sirve con sazón y con amor. See you next week.